Welcome back to another Hilux episode, guys. Today we are getting straight into it with the lift kit. So the chassis is on the hoist, the cab's off at the moment, and what we're doing is just a leaf lift for now because I want to keep this thing legal. Stage 1 build, we're just going to do it like this, and then down the track we can either coil convert it. But we've got a 2-inch lift kit from Superior Engineering. A few changes I've made with this kit. I've gone for some remote resi shocks. So the standard kit, you just get your foam cell, not your foam cell, your monotube shocks. But I really wanted to put their 2.0 resis on. So what I discovered is rear patrol shocks fit with the eye top and bottom. And you can actually put 80 series rear shocks on the front of the Hilux because it has a pin and an eye at the bottom. So we're hoping that works. Upgraded steering arms and everything. We've got our lifted leaves, shackles, all the bits and pieces. What we've also done is a high steer kit because the steering on the Hiluxes are absolute trash. So their high steer kit gives you a plate to weld onto the chassis where you actually run an IFS steering box, and then it means you have a proper drag link and tie rod steering setup rather than the absolute shit show that goes on with those things. So the mission today, Mitch and I are going to whack this kit in, as much of it as we can, and then we can start looking at getting that cab on for good.
Rightio, so on this Hilux diff, we're doing what's called a high steer conversion. So basically what a high steer conversion is changing all of this, whatever the hell this is, into something more similar to like an 80 series or a Patrol, as you see from steering box, steering arm, and drag link across the front. So that's essentially what we're doing, and it's actually a pretty easy conversion as well. You get these 2 plates from Superior that just go on top of your swivel hub. So this one will go that side, this one will go this side, and it'll just completely change that steering setup. The benefits of doing that is it's going to take a lot of slop out of your steering because there's so many joints and different types of joints here. Hilux steering is quite primitive and not very good. So this is going to take a lot of that maybe bump steer and that just shaky steering out of the situation.
Alright, while Mitch is sorting out the front end, I'm about to put the new stuff on the rear. So we've gone for obviously the leaf lift. Now you get that out of a combination between the leaf size and also the shackles are extended as well. With the Superior shackles, everything gets replaced. You still use the bottom plates because they've got the mounts for the shocks, but everything else is new. They're all greasable as well, so these, unlike the standard ones, they've actually got grease nipples on the end so you can lube everything up. It comes with polyurethane bushes, brand new U-bolts. We've also got front pins as well. I went for the lightest spring I could get on the back because the canopy that's going to go on this thing is going to be jack off, so it can come on and just be a tray back as well. So we're going to keep it light for that. If the canopy sags it too much and we find ourselves using it a lot, we can either stiffen the springs or put bags in the back as well. So we'll bang this on and then pretty much drop the chassis straight on top, and we can hook this all up, get all the brake lines sorted. We've got extended brake lines as well, and then it's pretty much lift done. There's a lot more happening at the front end. Later on, we're going to start changing. I'm going to have to weld a new plate on the front and also sort that steering box out. We do need to try and find an IFS steering box to finish that off, but the rear's pretty simple. Front's a little bit more going on. Alrighty guys, something just came across my desk, John.
It is perhaps the best thing I've seen in the last 6 months. If you have 60 seconds, I'd like to share the idea with you. You got a minute?
Right, this week's sponsor is Newtracs. Now, I get a lot of apps come to me, right? But this was one that stood out to me. So think HEMA, think mud maps, all that, but this is something new. So I met the guy who developed this. Newtracs is basically an offline off-road map system, but it's kind of done by the crowdsourcing information of the users that use it, right? So if you've got the app and you run a track, you can do live recording. So you basically hit record, hit start, and as you drive that track, you input the information of your vehicle. So I've already gone through and said I've got a Patrol, it's on 35s, the different mods you have, run the track, say the difficulty level, and then you get that information. So if you're out there driving, you're not relying on people saying it's a hard track. You can actually go in and select the vehicle you've got and then see how hard the track is. Because it may be easy for like a Patrol, but hard for a Vitara, put it that way. So there's a few different features on here. It's obviously all offline. You can see the different difficulty levels, and if you go to premium and stuff, you unlock features like topographical layers. You can see the different heights and things you're using. Another really sick feature is Apple CarPlay. It's compatible, so on your head unit in your car, you can literally hit start and stop on the track that you're doing inside your car, so you can just run it like that. Think like Google Maps, kind of Waze, but for off-roading. So it's a really sick app. I recommend using it because it's pretty much got all those different details. Instead of just driving a track and seeing where it goes, you can actually see the different difficulty levels. So the more and more people that come onto this app, the better it's gonna get, all right? So I'll chuck a link down below, go check it out. It's called Newtracs. They've been around for a while now, so there's over 20,000 tracks already been established on the app. I've downloaded the Queensland one, but depending on what state you're in, you can pretty much download that whole amount of information for your state in an offline sort of scenario. So go check it out, Newtracs. Alrighty, so now the suspension is installed in the Hilux. There's a couple little things we're waiting on to finish the high steer kit. So we're gonna move on to another exciting part. We're literally going to the back end of the car and I'm gonna build a tray. Now come down here. I want to try something different that I haven't done before. I want to build the whole tray out of aluminium. This is a learning curve for me. I do a lot with steel, but we're going to basically try and mimic what I've done on the Patrol. So the Hilux, the whole idea of that build is to be like a mini version of the Patrol when it's finished the way it looks. So we're going to up a slightly smaller tray to suit the size of that car. So it's going to be sort of 1600 wide by 1900 long. Still have that little beaver tail end on it, but AJ's, big shout out to Luke from the boys at AJ. He literally delivered all the steel to us because my truck's still in WA. So we've got a bunch of 4mm box section, bit of rectangular section. And today, Mitch and I are gonna knock out a bit of a frame, get all the cross rails in and start mounting it up. I'm just gonna use the same slats flooring that's on the P-Core trays. The boys from down at Lifetime Trailers have that stuff. It's the same stuff that I use on the actual trailer. So we're gonna rip into that, start getting all the mitered joints cut up and mocked up, and then we'll get this thing welded together.
Don't freak out, easy fix, puzzle code in my head, now it's on the walls, everything is good. This is the part.
That's us on Fusion trying to work out angles. Then go 360 minus, gives you 90, minus 25. Then go 360 minus 90. Ta-da! All right, this is our outer perimeter of the tray. So it's a bit smaller than what's on the Patrol to match the size of the cab. We've still got a bit of length, but we've managed to make a fairly nice sort of shaped beaver tail on the back there. Now, one thing obviously we said at the start of the video, this is all new, the whole process of doing aluminium. So the only other alley welding I've done on the channel is building all the intercooler piping for the Duramax, and I TIG welded all of that. This is a much bigger job, so did a bit of bloody Googling. Turns out, we'll go over here, you can actually convert your MIG welder into an alley MIG welder. So you don't need a dedicated like AC MIG welder or anything like that. You can actually just whack a spool gun on it. So went to Unimig. The machine I already had, so I've just got the Razor 205, I think it is. So it's a steel MIG machine, but you can whack on the spool gun because aluminium is very soft. So if you want to send through a spool right through your hose, it's going to bind up and basically won't be able to be fed through. So you have to feed the aluminium directly to the gun tip. So that's what this does. Put the roll on here, it shoots it straight out, and you can actually just weld like normal DC welding, treat it like a MIG, and you can pretty much use the same machine. So that's pretty handy. So I'm gonna go around, tack this up, get it all squared up. We're putting some cross bracing in, and then once it's all kind of finished, we can go and fully weld everything, but we're probably gonna clean this back, all the surfaces and joints, so it's like a flush finish. So we're gonna have some penetration and fillet weld where those miter joins are. So go around, tack her up, and see this thing come together. Alright, so we've tacked up most of the shell now, but this is testing how flat my floor is, because just like when I built my canopy, it might be a little bit AWOL. But it'll work for you, Luxy. Alright, a big learning curve today. We were playing with the welder. We've got the couple of runners on. We're going to pretty much test fit it on the cab now. We need to get it on the chassis and put the cab on before we start marking out where the headboard's going to go, because we want it to follow exactly what the cab's doing. But first time using Ali in this sort of size. Obviously it's not like TIG welding, it's a bit different, so we're just getting used to the machine. But it's a really good thing. I like trying different stuff, and putting a steel tray on this car would just been too heavy and it rusts. So keeping things light and making sure that you can have a tray that lasts a long time, Ali is the way to go. So it's worth doing, learn new things, but it's coming together. But side note, obviously the rolls are tiny compared to what's in a full welder, and we've literally almost used the whole roll, and we've like not even finished welding it yet. Literally just the cross bracing. Done.
Oh, stop. Look at the front. Hey guys, we just want to interrupt today's video to show you our new merchandise designs. So we've got the Duramax tee over here. Cool design on the back. And then we've got the new grey hoodie as well. That's like the OG design. Now comes in grey, perfect for the time.
Anyway, thanks for supporting our online store, guys. There's a bunch of other stuff there. Our new winter drop hoodie is also back in stock. If you guys missed out when we launched it at the Sydney show, they're on there as well.
All the flexi tees and...
Oh yeah, we got flexi tees too.
And all the flexi tees are back in stock now, so make sure you jump over there and don't miss out. Patience. Rightio, so yesterday you saw us build the base of the tray. Now we've got it sitting on the Hilux so we can organise some heights, mounts, stuff like that. So what we've decided to do for the headboard, originally I was going to try and copy the multi-step of Sam's headboard, but this cab doesn't really give for that because it's kind of just straight up and then across. So what we've done is way more mats, and we've organised all these angles and shit. We're just going to come up here, step it in, run it across, and then just weld and blend everything off. And there's like 4 stages of a blending process. So you just do the weld, a rough abrasive to get rid of the weld, then a smoother abrasive. Then we come over to our sanding pad and we do a 80 grit sand and then a 120 sand to finish it off as well. So there's 4 stages, pretty lengthy process, but it comes out to be just an unreal result. What do I say now?
Yeah, let's do it. That wasn't an end of it.
Yeah, true. All right, so I'm gonna keep going on with the headboard and you guys can, I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna keep going on with the headboard.
Alright, so Mitch has done a stellar job on flushing up a lot of the welds on this tray, getting the headboard marked out. Big shout out to Ryan, he's gone and cut us some checker plate. Now, we do want to do propeller plate, but turns out for the same thickness material, it's like double the price. So, because there's going to be a canopy on this thing, we've just gone checker for this. Once it's all painted black, you'll hardly be able to tell. But now we'll get this on there, then the headboard. I'm going to use the plasma cutter to cut out a design on the headboard, maybe the OG Built Not Bought logo that I had in my original Patrol. But we're not going to attach all this now because it's all going to get painted. But yeah, the idea is to powder coat it black. So we'll get this flooring in work out some mounts and get it on there. We'll probably chuck another bar in here to separate a bit of a kick panel and then the headboard design. And then we're getting close. The top of the tray is pretty much done. Maybe a couple of tie downs, then we start working on toolboxes and guards. So it's looking good. Not bad for a couple of days work, eh? Righto, so I was trying something a little bit different on the Plasma the other day, and I was trying to come up with a new design for the headboard. So I jumped on Fusion and I really didn't want to do a repetitive pattern. I wanted to make something that was a little bit different. So I just come up with this random Spider-Man looking thing, put the classic Building On Board logo in, like the OG Patrol, and Mitch has gone and tacked this into the headboard. So that's kind of finished off the top part of the tray. What we need to look at doing now is underneath, toolboxes and stuff. Now there's not much room at the back to put a full box. I think we're probably going to box that in, put some tail lights, but at the front end, I've designed up a toolbox to kind of store some parts, recovery gear, all that. Now, pretty cool thing, a new thing I learned on Fusion is about flanging, where you can actually build a 3D product, then lay it out flat so it's ready to cut on a Plasma, and then you just use a bender to bend up the box you want, weld the corners, TIG it or MIG it, and then basically whack a seal on and you've got a toolbox. So that's what I'm going to try and play with now. I've gone and got some sheet aluminium, and that flat design that I drew up, I'm going to cut out of the Plasma and then go get it bent up and see how it comes together. So it's sort of the next level is doing things in 2D is one thing, but when you got to build something in 3D with bends involved, it gets a little bit more tricky. So we'll see how it comes out. It probably will leak, but you got to start somewhere, right? So let's get these toolboxes on. Mitch is working on mounts at the moment to mount up this tray. So we're going to have the 6 mounts there with some thick C channel. Get this thing mounted, get some boxes on there, build some guards as well. And then we're pretty much looking done, ready for paint after that. We'll get it powder coated. Out of the thing, you got to press record. Going?
Oh, we're foggy. We're very foggy.
It's fine, wherever. Your hot little hands have been around it. Don't worry about the fog, it is freezing at the moment. All right, so we've got these bent back. They literally just came back from the shop. That's why they're absolutely clean, even though this is 2 years later. But shout out to Ryan, let me use this bender again. So we've built these boxes. I've gone for a little cover on top, kind of to match the headboard theme. So we'll mock these up. I've put some bolt holes and we should be able to bolt this to the tray and see how they look, but we're pretty much going to get the front toolboxes sorted. The rear, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet because it's that tiny. It's probably not worth putting an actual toolbox in. It would just be like a bit of a cover. So we're pretty much going to see how these look and then continue on with the rest of the tray.
Jokes, there's nothing for us to mount it to, so we're gonna have to wait for some C-section and bolt these on in next week's episode. See you then.